The Radio Memories Network is brought to you in part by Liberated Syndication, podcast publishing made easy, libsyn.com. That's libsyn.com.
Welcome to Sci-Fi. From its earliest time, radio has always been interested in science fiction. Characters leap into your living room as we go on an adventure into time and space. We now go back to the early days of science fiction on the radio and our imaginations with our featured sci-fi presentation.
I can't remember who it was who said a story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end, but not necessarily in that order. He could have been outlining the story I'm about to tell you, though. Oh, my name is Barney Hendrickson, by the way. You've probably never heard of me, which is fair enough, because I've probably never heard of you either. Jean-Luc Godard, that's who said it. About stories having beginnings, middles, and ends. I should have remembered straight off. After all, I'm a director like Godard. No, let me rephrase that. Like him, I'm a film director. A film director like him, I'm not.
The Technicolour Time Machine, adapted for radio by Chris Boucher from the novel by Harry Harrison, with Lee Montague as Barney Hendrickson, Richard Pearson as Professor Hewitt, John Bay as L.M. Greenspan, David March as Dr. Jens Lynn, and Michael Kilgareth as Ottar. The Technicolour Time Machine.
I work in Hollywood. I know, you thought Hollywood was dead, right? Well, it isn't. It's just very, very sick. But what else is new? In fact, I work for Climactic Studios, which means I work for L.M. Greenspan, since L.M. is climactic. He always regarded me as one of the most reliable producer-directors on the lot. But on this particular afternoon, that was an opinion he was beginning to revise somewhat.
What am I doing here? How did I let myself be talked into this?
You are here, LM, because you are a far-sighted, quick-thinking executive. Or, to put it another way, you have to grasp any straw handy, because if you don't do something fast, Climactic Studios will sink without a trace.
Bite your tongue.
Or, to put it even another way, you're investing 1 hour of your time in an examination of a project that may mean climactic salvation.
Without a trace, he says.
Relax, LM. You could rise up from the grave even now.
Don't say that. You know how much money we lost on that Dracula movie?
Turning it into a martial arts picture was not your best idea ever.
It was not my idea. Besides, martial arts was very big at the time.
So were motorbikes.
With a good stunt coordinator, those motorbike sequences would have worked.
Dracula has risen from the grave.
I was never happy with that title.
It was the best thing about it.
You let me down on that one.
I had nothing to do with it.
Exactly my point.
Well, this is the place, sir.
This is the place? It's a dump. What could there be in a dump like that could possibly save the studio?
Don't prejudge, LM. After all, who could have predicted that a poor kid from the East Side slums would one day be head of the largest film company in the world?
Are you getting personal?
Let's not get sidetracked. Let's first go inside and see what Hewitt has to offer and make our preconceptions afterwards. Are you coming, LM?
You guard this car with your life, you understand?
Yes, sir, Mr. Greenspan.
A neighborhood like this, you have to watch constantly.
I'll see no one touches the car, sir.
Watch your blind spots. Don't let them sneak up on you.
No, sir. LM?
I'm coming. You know my problem? I'm too trusting. That's my problem.
That's your problem, all right.
Too easily led.
That's what I heard. Professor Hewitt?
Ah, yes. Mr.
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson, yes.
Professor Hewitt, this is the man I talked to you about. None other than the head of Climactic Studios himself, Mr. L.M. Greenspan.
Yes, of course. Do come in.
He's English.
Does it matter?
You didn't tell me.
It didn't seem important.
I don't like it.
This way, Mr.
Greenspan.
Greenspan, yes.
Already he's forgotten my name, and this is a super brain?
It's in the basement, LM.
I don't like this.
Oh, come on, LM. I mean, he looks the part, doesn't he?
Small, bald, thick glasses. He could be straight out of Central Casting.
This is what bothers me. What is this? Looks like an old set for Frankenstein.
Let the professor explain.
This is my life's work.
He's pointing at the toilet. What sort of life's work is that?
He means the machines and apparatus. He's just not pointing very well.
I'm expected to take seriously a man who can't even point properly? What's he doing now?
Just warming it up.
Warming it up, he says. All this stuff. There's enough wiring and machinery in here to blow us to hell if he gets it warmed up too much. See what I mean?
He knows what he's doing.
There.
Where?
This platform is the heart of the Radiatron. This is where the displacement takes place. Now, I'll not attempt to explain the mathematics to you. You couldn't possibly understand them. Nor will I go into the complex details of the machine's construction. Now, I feel that a demonstration of the Radiatron in operation would be wisest at this point. Now, you see this beer bottle? A perfectly normal beer bottle.
What's a Brameton?
This is. I will now demonstrate. I place the bottle on the platform. I switch on the field. Watch closely now. Do you see it? Did you see the displacement?
The what?
The bottle flickered, LM. You saw the bottle flicker?
Dramatic, wasn't it? and here it is on the printout. Look. That bottle travelled back 7 microseconds in time and then returned to the present. Now, in spite of what my enemies say, the machine's a success. My Brainiatron, from Brainier, the Serbo-Croatian for time, in honour of my maternal grandmother, who's from Mali Loshinya, is a workable time machine.
A nut. The guy is a nut.
Hear him out, LM. The professor has some ideas. It's only because he's been turned down by all the foundations in his request for funds that he will even consider working with us. All he needs is some finance to jazz his machine up.
There's one born every minute. Let's go.
Just listen to him. Let him show you the one where he sends the beer bottle into the future. This is too impressive to ignore.
Well, there's a temporal barrier in any motion towards the future. No, displacement towards the future requires infinitely more energy than displacement into the past. However, the effect still operates. You see?
So long. And P.S., Barney, you're fired.
Looking back, I suppose that was the turning point. The real beginning, maybe. I don't know what did it exactly. God knows I've been fired often enough, so it wasn't that. I was just angry, I guess, angry at myself, the dying company that employed me, the blindness of man, the futility of man, the fact that I was overdrawn at the bank. Anyway, I raced after LM and snatched the Havana cigar out of his mouth.
Hey, they cost $5 apiece.
We'll have a real demonstration, something you can appreciate.
Give it back here.
You'll have it back, but it's going to do some time traveling first. Now get that damn beer bottle out of the way. Now watch this, Ellen. You know, which of these gadgets is the power control unit?
Well, this rheostat controls the input, but why? Look here, you can't raise the temporal displacement level without burning out the equipment. Stop!
You can buy new equipment, but you don't convince LM. You're on the rocks and you know it. Go for broke.
But you're destroying my life's work. Stop it!
I'm electrocuted!
Look at the platform. Look. The cigar's gone.
You owe me $5.
2 seconds at least. 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is.
Give me that cigar. Still alight.
6. Maybe 7 seconds, LM.
All right, so it's the time machine, so I believe you. But what has this got to do with making films or keeping Climactic off the rocks?
For making films, it had obvious possibilities. A bigger and more powerful version of Professor Cigar Transporter might just take a film crew back in time for long enough to shoot the historical epic to end all historical epics. And that was exactly what Climactic needed to stay in business. Well, of course, development would cost. So the possibilities for keeping Climactic off the rocks was slightly less obvious at that stage. But some weeks later, a select, not to say conspiratorial group of us met in LM's office, having passed that stage and ready, if not especially eager, to move on or back to the next.
lock the door, and cut the phone wires.
It's 3 in the morning, LM. We can't be overheard.
If the banks get wind of this, I'm ruined for life and maybe longer.
If anyone's got this place bugged, it won't be the banks.
Cut the wires, Barney.
Let me take care of it, Barney. I'll just disconnect them if that's okay.
Be my guest, Amory. You always carry one of those?
Head of technical services? I should carry a tennis racket, maybe? I'll tell you one thing, Barney. We've solved the mystery already tonight for a year now. My boys have been repairing these cut wires on the average of twice a week. There. All done.
All right, Barney, let's have it.
We're ready to roll at last, LM. All of the essential machinery for the Vremiatron has been built on the set for Frankenstein and the Halloween Chainsaw Massacre. The expenses have been covered by the budget for the picture. In fact, there was a bit of saving there. The professor's machines cost less than the usual props.
Don't digress.
Right. Well, we've mounted the machinery in the back of an army truck from the set of Private Benjamin's sister, and the prof has hooked it up and tested everything. It's ready to go. Isn't that right, Professor?
Absolutely,
Barney.
Now, everything tests out perfectly now, Mr.
Greenspan.
Greenspan. There are one or two sub-circuits which are very slightly out of phase, but...
I don't like the truck. It'll be missed.
No, it won't, LM. It was government surplus in the first place and was going to be disposed of in the second. It was sold legally through our usual outlet and bought by Tex here. I told you, we're in the clear.
Tex? Tex, who is he? Who the hell are all these people anyhow? I thought I told you to keep this thing small, hold it down until we saw how it works. If the banks get wind of this...
The operation is as small as it can possibly be. There's me and the prof, whom you know.
Yeah.
Amory Blested's your own technical chief.
Been with you 30 years.
I know. But who are the two cowboys over there?
I'm Tex Antonelli. Dallas Levy.
They're stuntmen.
Stuntman? What kind of stunt you pulling?
Will you relax, LM? We need help on this project. Trustworthy men who keep quiet, know their way around in case of trouble. Dallas was in the combat infantry, then on the rodeo circuit before he came here. Tex was 13 years in the Marines, an instructor in unarmed combat.
What about you?
Dr. Jens Lund.
From UCLA, a philologist. He specializes in North European languages or something like that. If we do the story we're planning, he's going to do our translating for us.
This is a wonderful opportunity. I have taken my sabbatical. I would even accompany you without the generous horarium. As a technical advisor, we know so little of spoken Old Norse.
All right. The team I accept. Now, what's the plan? Fill me in on the details.
We've got to make a trial run. See if the prof's gadget really does work.
I promise you.
Don't promise. Promises I got already. Results I need.
If it does work, we set up a team, work out a script, then go out and shoot it on location. And what a location. I mean, think of it. All of history is open to us on widescreen. We can film it all, record it.
And save this studio from bankruptcy. No salary for extras, no sets to be built, no trouble with the unions.
Hold it right there.
Not your union, Dallas, of course not your union. All the crew from here will be employed at scale and above with bonuses. I was just thinking of the savings at the other end. Go now, Barney. Go while I'm still enthusiastic. And don't come back until you've got good news for me.
The truck was in an empty warehouse on the far side of the studios, which were, of course, silent and deserted at this time of night. I'd left a studio guard outside the warehouse, however, just to be sure.
Tight as a drum, sir, and no disturbances at all.
Fine. After you, gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you.
Listen, we'll probably be here the rest of the night, okay?
Sir,
It's classified work, so see that no one gets near this area.
I've already told the captain, and he's passed the word to the boys.
Good man. Be seeing you. I hope.
The batteries and accumulators are fully charged.
Does that mean we're ready?
You may board the lorry, gentlemen.
Lorry?
Britt, the truck. What exactly is due to happen here?
That's exactly what we're here to find out, Tex.
The experiment can begin any time now.
Shall we get aboard?
I'm getting into the cab. I'll feel more comfortable there. I used to drive a 6x like this.
Everyone else in the back, yes?
Careful.
Okay.
I think maybe we should have been better briefed.
Time's money, Dallas. You know the business. You talk it or you do it. There isn't a budget for both.
A hell of a lot of room in here, what with a generator and the supplies and
Vremiatron.
You okay in the front, Tex?
Yeah, just fine. Okay, I'll secure.
Perhaps for the first trial, we might take a look in on the year 1500.
No
AD.
way. No, you set 1000 AD on your dials just as we decided and pulled the switch. I don't want to ship the equipment and full crew to Scotland or wherever and then find we can't get far enough back in time.
The power expenditure would be less. The risk...
Don't cop out now, Professor. We want to get as far back as possible so that no one will be able to recognize the machinery as machinery, cause us any trouble. Besides, the decision has been made to do a Viking picture, not a remake of The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
That would be in the 16th century. I would date the setting in medieval Paris rather earlier.
Look, if we're gonna go, let's stop jawing and go. It spoils the troops you horse around and waste time before going into combat.
You're quite right, of course, Mr. 1000 Anno Domini it is. And here we go.
What's wrong?
So many of these blasted switches and dials are dummies, I get confused.
Well, we had to make the machines so that they could be used in the horror film. They had to look realistic.
So you make them unrealistic. Wonderful. That's better. Now.
Hey! Steve Gilmore's fire! Something's gone wrong.
A secondary phenomenon. A static discharge of no importance. The field's building up now. Automatic sequencing. Locked in. And that's all I can do. At the microsecond of maximum power, the selenium rectifiers will trip automatically. You can monitor it here on this dial. When it reaches 0...
Let's see. It's reading 12. I don't think I want to watch.
9. The charge is building up. 8. 7. 6.
Do we get combat pay for this?
5. 4. 3. 2. 1. 0. Eureka!
Hey, what the hell is that? Look. Over the tailboard, outside the truck, look. I can. It hurts to look.
Yeah, but what is it?
Nothing is what it is. Absolutely nothing.
Yes, definitely. Definitely displacing towards the past. An easily measured rate. Now some adjustments for physical displacement as well. Wouldn't do to end up in interstellar space or in the middle of the Pacific. Dear me, no. Now, I suggest you hold securely to something, gentlemen. I've made as good an approximation as possible to the local ground level, but I'm afraid to be too precise. I don't want to emerge underground. So there may be a drop of a few inches. Are you ready?
Hit it, Professor.
God! Well, I'll be damned.
Oh. Jeez. That is beautiful.
This is no part of California, I know.
Oh, this is the old world, not the new. What? To be precise, the Orkney Islands. Where there were many settlements of the Northmen in the 11th century. It's the year 1003. It undoubtedly surprises you that the Vremetron is capable of physical as well as temporal displacement. But this is
Nothing surprised me since Hoover was elected. Let's get the operation moving. Dallas, roll up the front of the top so we can see where we're going.
Okay.
You absolutely certain about where we are, Professor?
Absolutely,
Barney.
Barney, yes.
Well, why didn't you say you were going to move us through space as well as time?
There was some small risk.
Now he tells us.
Exactly. But it was only a small additional risk.
And it's a large additional saving. Start her up, Tex.
Right.
Congratulations, Professor. All right, Tex, let's see what's further along the beach, round that little headland.
Carefully, please. Remember the equipment.
Hey, Barney, you want this?
What, a revolver? No, you keep it, Dallas. I'd probably shoot my foot off if I played around with one of those. Give the other one to Tex. Hold on to the rifle yourself.
Yeah, but aren't we going to be armed just in case for our own protection? I can handle a rifle.
Not professionally. We work to union rules round here, Amory.
We're rounding the headland now. I think we found some signs of life.
Alt for starting. Look at that. So beautiful. That I should be seeing this with my own eyes.
What, you mean the sod hut and the dirty rowboat?
There's smoke coming from that hut.
So where is everybody?
The truck has frightened them. They have taken refuge in the house.
Kill the engine, Tex.
Right.
Maybe we should have brought some beads or something to trade with the natives.
I fear that these are not the kind of natives that you are thinking of. Ah, you see? You see what I mean?
Hey, that's a real Viking. Horns on the helmet and everything.
Oh, big mother, isn't he? That's a mean-looking axe he's swinging, too.
You can see he is obviously afraid, but the Viking hero cannot reveal his fear before the thralls and housecarls who will be watching from concealment in the building. So he works up a berserk rage.
Is that why he's chewing his shield?
Yes.
Can't do his bridge work a lot of good.
He appears to be foaming at the mouth now.
Dallas, can you and Tex take this guy on? Maybe slow him down before he breaks something?
Yeah, bullet will slow him down real good.
Absolutely not. This studio does not indulge in murder, even for self-defense.
We'll go into the personal jeopardy bonus in the contract then.
Yeah, I know. Just do it, will you?
Hey! That big slob chopped off one of the headlights.
Has he finished, you think?
He'll be back. Tex, get ready to draw him away. Right.
Are you all right, Dr.
Lynn.
Dr. Lynn, yes. You look a little shaken.
I understood what he said, Professor Hewitt. I understood what he said. He was bragging that he had taken out the monster's eye, and the language was intelligible.
Congratulations,
He's
Doctor.
coming back. He seems to have gained a little confidence here.
Let's go, Tex. I'll sap him with a couple of these pebbles. You be ready with a rope.
Those are pebbles?
When you're as big as that guy, these are pebbles. Hand me the rope.
This?
Yeah.
Dallas?
Yeah.
Are you planning to lasso that crazy monster?
Yep. Once Tex got his attention.
Hey! You shout a good pie, big mouth.
Oh, he seems to have managed that. Probably the obscene gesture. Who would have thought that would have meant something to a Viking?
That seems to have settled him down a bit. Nice throwing, man. Rocks and ropes.
He's out cold. The bigger they are, the harder they splash. Yes, sir. You want it?
I have to talk to him. It is a rare opportunity.
Yeah, but make sure he's well tied.
Hey.
I hope it doesn't take too long to bring him round. I really think we should be going back soon. The shift compensator relays are not as robust as I would wish.
Are you saying the Vramiatron's about to break down on us?
No, I'm saying we should avoid unnecessary strain by leaving soon.
Hey, those guys coming out of the house, are they going to attack us?
Yes! We must leave instantly. We can't risk the equipment being damaged.
What about this?
Throw that prehistoric lumberjack in the back here. Let's get going. Well, let's go.
Hold on, damn it.
Right, give me full throttle. Hit the horn and the lights, Tex. I said no guns, Dallas.
Over their heads is all.
Okay.
Ha-ha! That put the fear of God in them.
Where to?
Professor?
We must get as close as possible to the point where we arrived.
You heard the man, Tex.
On our way.
It goes through space as well as time. Why couldn't we leave from where we were?
Well, I must have objective points to calibrate the controls. It was only the first trip, remember?
Hey! Sunday driver?
Hey, watch it, Tex. We don't want an Sunday driver?
I knew it. 30 years with L.M. Greenspan has finally softened my brain.
Goddamn cheap liquor.
About the only one of us that wasn't seriously fazed by what we saw in that moment was the good professor. He was fascinated. But he finally got around to explaining in words of one syllable. What we had seen was a truck we were now riding in as it would be at a later date. Seemed reasonable. What didn't seem reasonable was what I'd seen in the back of that truck. It was me. As I caught the eye of that other me, he gave me the dirtiest grin I've ever seen. Thumbed his nose at me. It was worrying. At the very least, it was worrying. About that time, the Viking woke up, bit me in the leg. He was still frothing at the mouth. It occurred to me that I probably got rabies now on top of everything else. When we trooped into LM's office, we were beat, must have looked it. LM, still half convinced the whole thing was an elaborate scam, was instantly suspicious.
So what went wrong? What happened? You walk out of the office 10 minutes ago, and now 10 minutes later you walk in.
Minutes to you, LM, but hours for us. The machine's okay.
Yes.
It works even better than we'd hoped.
Wonderful.
The way is open to take a company back in time and film an accurate, full-length, widescreen, realistic, low-budget, high-quality historical. The next problem's a simple one.
A story.
Right as always, LM. And it so happens we have a story. A true-to-life story. And what is more, a patriotic story. If I was to ask you who discovered America, what would you say?
Christopher Columbus, 1492.
That's what most people think, but it was the Vikings that did the job first.
Columbus was a Viking? I thought he was Jewish.
500 years before Columbus was born,
Viking ships had sailed from Greenland and discovered what they called Vinland, which has since been proven to be part of North America. The first expedition was led by Eric the Red.
Eric the Red? You want to get us blacklisted with a commie picture?
It's just a name, LM, and anyway, there isn't a blacklist anymore.
A popular idea will always come back.
And that one will run and run.
After Eric found the place, it was colonized. Vikings came, lived there, built houses, farmed, and this was all organized by the legendary hero Thorfinn Karlsefni.
These names! He's got to go too. I can already hear the big romance scene. Kiss me, my dearest Thorfinn Karlsefni, she whispers. Out. You're losing your touch, Barney.
You can't rewrite history, LM.
What else have we ever done? This is no time to go soft on me, Barney Hendrickson. You, who were at one time my best producer and director before the lousy moron box ruined us all, get a grip on yourself. The motion pictures are not primarily an educational medium. We are selling entertainment, and if it doesn't entertain, it don't sell. Now, I see it this way. We got this Viking. You call him Benny or Carlo or some other good Viking name. And you do a saga of his adventures, like one day fighting and winning. Of course he's restless, he's that kind. He goes off and finds America, then comes back and says, I have found America. So they make him the king. Then there is this girl with long blonde wig hair who keeps waving to him every time he sails away and promises to return. Only now he is older, with a little gray above the ears and some scars he has suffered. And this time, instead of going away, he takes the girl with him, and together they sail into the sunset to a new life as the first pioneers at Plymouth Rock. Well?
What can I say? Great as always, LM. You haven't lost your touch.
But it is not that way. It is in the records. Even Mr. Henriksson is not completely correct. It was Leif Erikson, the son of Eric the Red, who is generally credited with the discovery of Finland. There are two versions of the chronicle, one in the Hawks book and the other in the Flatty Yard book.
Enough already. Even the history books can't agree, Barney. So with some little bringing together here and there and some touching up, we got a story. Who are you thinking up for the leads?
If we can get him, Rough Hawk would be perfect for the Viking, and someone really stacked for the girl.
Slidey Toes. She's available in between pictures, and for 2 weeks, her crumb of an agent has been in and out of here with deals. So I know she's broken and we can get her cheap. Next, you'll need a writer, and for that, use Charlie Chang. We have him on contract. He's a specialist.
On Bible stories, maybe not historicals. And frankly, I didn't think much of Down from the Cross or that other thing, Walking the Red Sea Waters.
Ruined by censorship, that's all. I okayed the scripts myself, and they were great. Did you hear that?
Yes, the Viking. He was still aching for a fight, so we slugged him again and chained him to the shower in the executive's head.
What's this?
One of the locals. He attacked the truck. We brought him along so that Dr. Lynn could talk to him.
Well, get him in here.
Tex, Dallas.
He's just the man we need. You gotta have a local who knows his way around when you're shooting on location.
After a few minutes of yelling and chain rattling and a couple of solid thuds, Tex and Dallas came back with a slightly glassy-eyed Viking. It was the first real chance I'd had to get a clear look at him. He was as impressive as hell, and we were all impressed. All except LM, of course. To LM, this was just another yokel to be dazzled.
Welcome to Hollywood. Yes. Sit down, give him a drink, Barney, and make yourself comfortable. What'd you say your name was?
He doesn't speak English, LM.
I can't say I approve of that, Barney. I don't like working through interpreters. Too slow, not reliable. All right, Lynn, do your stuff. Ask him his name.
Let me... What heter Morin?
What's the trouble? I thought you talked his lingo. Can't he understand you?
You must be patient, sir. Old Norse has been a dead language for almost 1,000 years. We know of it only through the written.
All right, already. Lectures I don't need. Make him comfortable, oil him up with a few drinks, and let's get rolling here.
Sit.
Here. Try some of LM's best bandage.
He thinks you are trying to poison him.
That's easily taken care of. Here, watch me. I needed that. You want to try some now? Oh, easy. Easy.
Oh, en hochfidelrig.
He likes it. At $20 a bottle plus tax, he should like it. Ask him again about the name.
What heter Morin?
Ottar.
Now we're getting someplace. We're also getting on at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I want to get things settled. Ask this OTR about the rate of exchange. What kind of money do they have, Len?
Well, they barter mostly, but mention is made of the silver mark.
How many marks to the dollar? And tell them not to give any fancy bank figures. I want the free market price. We've been had this way before, and I'll buy the marks in Tangier if I
Come here. It's the bourbon. He wants the bourbon.
One side, gents.
That's it, folks.
What's this, murder in my own office?
Just a little lead-weighted sap.
He'll come round all right. Good as new.
Crazy man I got enough of in the organization, so take this one back where he come from and find one that speaks English. I don't want any translators next time.
None of them speak English, LM.
Then teach one, but no more crazy men.
Back in my own office, a lot of sleepless hours, or was it centuries later, the problems were really beginning to pile up. Yeah, Betty.
Dallas Levy on 2. Sounds steam.
I'll take it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Dallas. Sorry, I was going to get back to you. What were you saying? Yeah. Treble times of 2 hours ago, yeah? I'll okay the vouchers. And just keep the malodorous bastard locked up and quiet until we decide what to do with him. Yeah, and tell Dr. Lynn to get up here as soon as he's finished talking to him. This picture's going to be a bitch to cost. Hey, Professor.
I'm sorry, what you say?
Yeah, any results from all those calculations? I mean, can we send anything bigger than that truck back in time?
Patience. You must learn patience. There are many factors that enter into the equation, other than the accepted
Yeah,
four
Betty?
dimensions of physical measurement.
Send him in.
We must consider 3 additional criteria at least.
Professor.
That's taking it. What?
Just the answer. That's all I need. Well, Doctor, out with the bad news. Unless that's your normal expression. No luck with the Viking, right?
There is a communication problem. You realize, since my command of Old Norse is far from perfect, and Otter has little or no interest in what I am trying to discuss with him. However, I do feel that with the proper encouragement, he could be convinced that he should learn English.
Encouragement?
Well, like most Vikings, he is very mercenary and will do almost anything to gain status and wealth, though of course he prefers to get it by battle and killing.
Of course, all right. We could pay him for taking his language lessons. But what about the time factor? Can you have him speaking English in 2 weeks?
Oh, impossible. With a cooperative student, perhaps, but not with Otter. He is reluctant at best, and in addition, he refuses to do anything until he is released.
Released? I can just see that hairy nut with his meat axe on the corner of Hollywood and Vine. No way is he released.
One way, perhaps, if I might offer a suggestion, if Dr.
Lynn,
yes, were to return with the Aborigine to his own time, there would be ample opportunity to teach him English in his own environment, which would both reassure and calm him.
It would not reassure or calm me, Professor. Life in that particular era tends to be both brutish and short.
Well, I'm sure precautionary measures can be taken, Doctor. And I would think that the philological opportunities would far outweigh the personal factor.
There is that, of course.
Plus the important point that in this manner the time factor can be altered to suit our needs. I mean, gentlemen, we can collapse or stretch time as we will. Dr. Lynn, yes, can have 10 days or 10 months or 10 years to teach the language to Otter. And between the moment we leave him in the Viking era and the moment when we see him again, only a few minutes need to have passed from our point of view.
2 months will be adequate if you wish to consider my point of view.
It's agreed then. Lynn will go back with the Viking and teach him English, and we'll arrive with a company 2 months later, Viking time, to start the production roll.
I have not agreed. There are
I wonder
dangers.
what it will feel like to be the world's single greatest authority on Old Norse. I knew you'd see it. Why don't you do your best to explain to Otter? Mention money.
Yes, boss?
Betty, get the contract department to send over one of their barely legal lifetime at hard labor general service contracts for Otter to sign. Just a general pro forma. We'll fill in the specifics.
Right. Oh, and Charlie Chang's here, boss.
Fine. Get onto the dispensary, Betty. Tell them if I'm going to live past noon, I need that Benzodrine now. And tell good old Charlie I'll be right with him.
Oh, he is a friend of yours, this Charlie Chang?
Hell no, we dislike each other intensely.
I will go talk to Otter.
Yeah, I'll send the contract down. Charlie Chang, man, it's good to see you.
It's been a long time, Barney.
Too long. Come on in here.
Good to work with you again. What's cooking, Barney?
A widescreen, 3-hour, big-budget film, and you're the only man who can write it. The subject is a wholly new concept of the Viking discoveries of North America.
Sounds good, Barney, but you know, I'm a biblical specialist. I don't think this is up my alley.
You're a good writer, Charlie, which means everything's up your alley. Besides, let's not forget your contract.
No, we can't forget the contract. Ha. I've always been interested in doing a historical.
We got the scoop from the library, everything you need to know. Betty, send in the books.
You mean that Talalilord out there was for me? You mean that Talalilord out there was for me?
Thanks, Betty.
5,750.
Just take a quick flip through them. I'll be with you in a minute.
A minute, sure.
What is it, Professor? What is it?
The size of the load the Vrematron will be able to handle with an increased power supply. Roughly speaking, a 14-ton load measuring 12 feet by 12 feet by 40 feet.
Why, Barney Hendrickson, it must have been years. I know you have a part that's just perfect for me.
Now, there were those in the business who said that Slighty Tove had the acting ability of a marionette with loose strings, the brain of a chihuahua, and the moral standards of Fanning Hill. And they were right. But what she also had, in overabundance, was femaleness, plus the ability to communicate on what must have been a hormone level. A communication which was scarcely diminished by all the barriers of film, lenses, and projectors, and which radiated hot and steaming. I was saved by an urgent summons to LM's office. There I found him closeted with Sam, his own personal private accountant, reputed to be a world authority on corporative finance and tax evasion. LM finished cutting the telephone wires and gave me a long and searching look.
I got not so good news for you, Barney. We're ruined.
What LM means is that Climactic Studios will soon be bankrupt.
On the rocks, a work of a lifetime.
Normally, it would take at least 3 more months before our financial report would be sent to the banks, who, as you know, own the controlling percentage of this corporation. However, for some reason unknown to us, they're sending their accountants to examine the books this week.
And they'll find all the profits are on paper and all the hard cash has been bled off into the untaxable LM Greenspan Foundation. Am I right, LM?
Watch it, Barney. That's no way for an employee to
Listen,
start...
LM, you wouldn't have got involved with Professor Hewitt and his machine unless there was a possibility of saving the firm. A box office success would get the pressure off, yes?
A big box office hit, sure. Even a big picture in a can and we could laugh at the teeth of the banks. But you can't make a picture in a week.
I can. LM, you must have a heart attack.
Bite your tongue. 1 coronar's enough to last a lifetime.
You go home with Sam to work on the books tonight. You take them with you. You get sick. Your doctor says it could be a coronary. Everyone runs round, shouts for a few days. The books are forgotten about. Then it's a weekend. Nobody even considers looking at the books until Monday, maybe Tuesday.
Monday. You don't know banks. No books on Monday, and they'll have a hired car full of doctors over to the house.
All right, Monday. On Monday, LM, I will bring you the new picture in the can. A picture that would just have to gross 20 million on length, width of screen, and color alone. Don't you see? I can take the company and everything we need back into Viking times, shoot the picture, and use as much time as we need to get it right before we come back. And in the here and now, we need only have been gone for 10 minutes.
Are you saying that we will only have to pay production costs for just 10 minutes?
I never saw you smile before, Sam. And no, that's not what I'm saying.
Can you do it, Barney? Can you pull this thing off?
I can do it if you give me all the help I asked for and no questions. Now, this is Tuesday. I see no reason why we can't have everything we need sewn up by Saturday. Have to get the contract signed with the principals, get enough raw film to last all the shooting, technicians, at least 2 extra cameras. Yeah, we can do it. We can be ready to leave on Saturday.
Still, I don't know. It's a wild idea.
Oh, and one more thing. If we're on location for, say, 6 months, everyone has to be paid 6 months' salary.
What?
But we rent the cameras and sound equipment, all the expensive hardware, and we'll only have to pay a few days' rental fees for them.
Barney, you got yourself a deal.
We made one more reconnaissance trip to the Vikings' home. It was partly to give Gino Capo, our cameraman, a chance to look around, shoot some test footage, partly so that Amory and I could decide what we need to take on location, and partly to deliver one very drunk Viking and his somewhat uneasy English teacher. Lynn had thought of everything he could possibly need. He was even wearing one of those multi-pocketed hunting jackets.
Why the Jungle Gym outfit?
A simple matter of survival and creature comfort. I have DDT for the body lice that are sure to abound, Halosode tablets for the drinking water, and a quantity of tinned food.
You get much traffic around here?
Just us, Gino. Just us.
Why thumb your nose at yourself, Barney?
I don't know, Amory. I just felt like it. Maybe I'm having a nervous breakdown. What do you think? Hey, what do you think, Otto?
I think he's the only one that's having any fun around here.
The deal with Otto called for 1 bottle of good bourbon, he'd already developed an educated palate, for every day of study. 2 months came to 5 cases, and these we delivered along with the rest of Lynn's equipment. It wasn't until Ottar, after calming his people, had dragged us into his house for a homecoming celebration that I fully appreciated why Lynn needed all that stuff. The dim, smoke-filled interior was occupied by people and livestock. It stank. And if the ale they celebrated with was disgusting, the food was worse. When Amory and I finally staggered into the daylight, we were agreed on one thing. Doesn't look as though we'll be able to help ourselves locally with any commissary supplies.
Second that motion.
So we'll have to bring that with us as well. I want to do all the cutting here, so set up a cutting room in one of the trailers.
Oh, Mr. Hendrickson, your secretary gave me this note to give you just before we left. I forgot.
Something wrong?
No, not a thing, Amory. Cancel operation. All work to cease on picture. What do you mean by sending me a message like that, LM?
What do I mean? What could I possibly mean? You got my agreement to go ahead in a picture when you didn't even have a script.
This is an emergency, remember?
Emergency is one thing. Doing a picture without a script is another. In France, maybe they make arty-schmarty things. You couldn't tell they had a script or not. But in climactic, we don't work that way.
So you called him my script writer?
He got no script.
Sorry about this, Barney.
Relax, Charlie. Leaving aside that it was only yesterday when you and I finalized the idea, LM, if you had a Charlie Chang script in your hand, you'd let production go ahead, wouldn't you?
He got no script.
You're not listening, LM. I said if. If I were to hand you in 1 hour a Charlie Chang script for this great motion picture titled Viking Columbus, would you okay production?
Yes.
We'll see you in exactly 1 hour, LM. Come on, Charlie.
My head Schlinker keeps evening hours, Barney. Let him talk to you. I have heard some rash promises in this rush business, but this takes the gold-plated bagel.
45 minutes later, Charlie Chang, complete with typewriters, paper, a full safari outfit from the prop department, and everything else he could possibly need, including a spring-powered time clock with cards, was in the back of the truck.
I thought the Cambrian period would be best. You know, early Paleozoic. Nice moderate climate, warm and comfortable, with no vertebrates around to cause trouble. Seas churning with simple trilobite.
Well, you're the doctor, Prof. Whatever you think best. We have to work fast now, at least at this end. Now take him to Catalina Island, drop him off, then move 6 weeks ahead, bring him back here. Or leave the junk on the island. We may need it later. Take it away, Prof. Charlie, don't forget to punch in on the clock every morning.
What is all this, Barney?
Don't worry. Professor Hewitt will explain everything when you get there. Hey? What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. I've just timed our return with the utmost of exact precision.
It was only then that I realized that all the supplies had gone from the truck. And Charlie looked as though he'd been living outdoors for 6 weeks. As, of course, he had. How did it go?
It's not quite finished. It's those things in the water. Those teeth, eyes.
How much longer do you need?
2 weeks. But, Barney, the teeth, the eyes.
Take it away, Prof. 2 weeks. This time, the truck barely flickered, and they were back with a script for Viking Columbus.
A script in an hour? This is going to revolutionize the business. Don't be cheap, Barney. Give him the highest hourly rate you can imagine, then double it twice. I want to do the right thing and see that Charlie Chang gets the greatest rate per hour ever paid to man. Paid for 1 hour of his time.
Come on, LM. I just explained that. Maybe only an hour of your time went by, but Charlie worked more than 2 months on that script.
He can't prove it.
He can prove it. He punched the time clock every day, and I have the time cards right here.
He can sue.
Yes, I'd say so.
Yeah? Yeah. Rough Hawk's on his way up.
Perhaps I should explain about Rough Hawk. Rough looked good both on and off camera because basically looking good was really the only thing in life he cared about. He did not like women. Not that he was gay or anything. He didn't like men either. Or sheep. Or raincoats. Or whips. Rough just liked Rough. And the light of love in his eyes was nothing more than a reflected gleam of narcissistic appreciation.
So I said right out loud, Rough Hawk is the most Vikingest Viking I could think of.
You've heard of Vikings, haven't you, Rough? Tall guys with big axes and horns on their helmets, always sailing around in ships with a carved dragon in front?
Oh, yeah. Sure I heard of Vikings. I never played a Viking.
Oh, it's the sort of role that'll make you look great in front of camera.
I always look great in front of camera.
Of course you do, Rough. You haven't got any big commitments, any other pictures, do you?
I got a picture coming up into next week, something about Atlantis.
I thought so. My apologies to your agent, Ruff, but we got to find somebody else.
LM, read the script, enjoy it. Let me talk to Ruff. You've forgotten that this film will be in the can by Monday, which will give Ruff 3 days to rest up before Atlantis sinks. Imagine that, Ruff. Back in 2 days, and you'll still get paid for a feature-length picture.
I'm glad you mentioned the script because it has some grave faults, big ones.
How can you tell? You've only read 10 pages.
I think you should talk to my agent. Anything to do with money, I don't say a word.
From Charlie Chang, I expected better. The opening won't do.
I looked at the clock. It was 8 p.m. Wednesday. I had to get hold of this slab of muscle's agent, and fight the script through a rewrite and shoot Charlie back to Catalina and do the job, and find actors for the supporting roles, and get every single item lined up that we might need for a couple of months shooting back the 11th century, and get the entire thing done, finished and in the can by Monday morning. Plenty of time. Nothing to it. So why was I sweating? By Saturday morning, a column of trucks lined up on the concrete roadway leading to Soundstage B was ample evidence in the interim I had not sweated alone. Inside the building, Professor Hewitt's new improved Ramiotron was now attached to a platform that was large enough to take even the biggest of the trucks and trailers that waited outside. The carpenters were finishing up, and the professor was doing his best to explain to me why we couldn't beat the return trip problem. He drew me a diagram on a piece of pine board. Apart from ruining my pen, what it seemed to do was prove that you had to cross the same world timeline on the return leg, or the whole trip would simply never have been made. Seemed reasonable to me. So, it adds up to the fact that we can't come back to a time earlier than we left?
Precisely.
So all the time we've used up this past week is gone forever?
Correct.
So, if we want the picture to be completed by 10 o'clock Monday morning, we have to go back in time and stay there until it's done.
I could not have phrased it more succinctly myself.
Then let's get the show on the road.
I'm ready when you are. The same place as before, 8 weeks on.
Trip after trip the professor made, cutting the return so close, it was little more than a flicker. Even so, it adds up to the fact that we can't come back to a time earlier than we left?
Precisely.
So all the time we've used up this past week is gone forever?
Correct.
So if we want the picture to be completed by 10 o'clock Monday morning, we have to go back in time and stay there until it's done.
I could not have phrased it more succinctly myself.
Then let's get the show on the road.
I'm ready when you are. The same place as before, 8 weeks on.
Trip after trip the professor made, cutting the return so close, it was little more than a flicker. Even so, it wasn't until the motorboat trailer and the deep freeze truck, which made up the last load, rolled off the platform and into the 11th century, that I found myself beginning to relax just a little. Now, time back in the 20th century would stop, and no matter how long we stayed, when we went back for the film, it would still be noon on Saturday, almost 2 full days before the Monday deadline. I was feeling pretty good as Dallas drove me in the Jeep to Utter's place to collect Dr. Lynn.
Welcome!
Language lessons seem to work.
Very pleased to see you again. Where is whiskey?
Done nothing for his thirst, though.
Oh, there's plenty to drink, Arthur, but I want to talk to Dr. Lynn first.
He is there coming. Jens, come here!
That ain't him. Look at the beard and the hair.
And the filth.
Hold it, Doc. Come on. Come on, put the pail down before someone gets hurt.
Where have you been? It has been more than a year.
Not 2 months? I guess the prof must have made a mistake with the instruments.
A mistake? A mistake? For more than a year. I have been stranded here with these louse-ridden barbarians taking care of their filthy animals. 5 minutes after you were gone, Otter hit me on the side of the head, took all my clothes and supplies, and all the whiskey.
Why work for whiskey when it's just there to take it?
He was repellently drunk for almost a month. And when he recovered, he remembered about the English lessons. He made me teach him every day so he could get some whiskey if you ever returned.
Otter speak pretty good, that's right. Where whiskey?
At that moment, thoughts of lawsuits danced darkly in my mind. It But when I pointed out to Dr. Lynn he'd been on full salary all the time, that he still was, and that back home only a few days of his year's paid sabbatical had passed, he agreed to call it quits and stamped off to our camp for a shower and delousing. Meantime, I put Ottar back on the payroll.
Whiskey?
Work. If you're on a whiskey salary, you're gonna earn it. This picture starts rolling tomorrow, and I want some information from you first.
Sure. Come in house.
Not in your life. I remember what happened to the last guy who did that.
And so the joy of filmmaking got underway.
God damn it, Slidey, I've explained this twice already this morning.
I thought I was supposed to hate him.
That was yesterday. We're shooting out of sequence, remember? Look, I'll explain the scene to you once more. If I might have a small amount of your attention too, Mr. Hawk.
Look, here comes a ship.
Hey, isn't that what they call
A Viking longship. Tomorrow, goddammit! Lynn, where are you? Didn't you and Ottar arrange with his friend, this Finnbaggy character, to bring his ship tomorrow?
They have a very loose sense of time.
Oh, great. Oh, that's just great. What about it, Gino? Is there a shot here? I mean, anything you can get?
Yeah, looks good. Really nice telephoto stuff.
Well, get it then. Maybe we can salvage something from this.
Okay. Bail! Bail!
What the hell are Ottar and his men doing? Why all the weapons?
Perhaps it is some customer's greeting I am not familiar with.
Get all this, Gino. If it's any good, we can write it into the script.
Huh? Okay.
What are they doing?
Santa Maria. They are killing each other.
What? What's that? Did I see?
Yeah. Guy's head chopped clear off his shoulders. This is great stuff. Great shot.
I don't think that this is Finnboggy and his men. I think this is a different ship that has arrived.
Radio. Give me the radio. Tex, Dallas, this is Barney. Get here. We've got problems.
Boy, did we have problems. Breaking away from the carnage on the shore, one of the attackers spotted us up on the hill and came charging after us, yelling like a banshee and swinging his blood-covered axe. Gino filmed him all the way, and it was only Tex's arrival in the Jeep that kept us from joining the body count that was rapidly mounting down on the beach. Eventually, and with further intervention by Tex and the Jeep, the invaders were beaten, though not before their leader and Ottar had fought it out to a particularly bloody and apparently much appreciated death.
Did you see how I hit the leg? Hit him, crash! Leg next to off.
Yeah, very well played. I saw it all. my congratulations. Who was he? What were they doing here?
He was called Torfy. Whiskey, Tex?
Whiskey, Otto. Not your favorite brand, but it'll do. Hey, that's a great backhand you got with that axe. Oh, I wish I could sink a whole bottle like that.
This Torfy, what was the trouble with him?
Torfy, the son of Valbrand, the son of Volkjoth, the son of Orlug, came to Svine. Torfy killed the men of Krop, 12 of them together. He also made the killing of the Holzmen, and he was at Hellesvetar with Illugi the Black and Sturli the Goody when 18 cave-living people were killed there. They also burned in his own house Ardun, the son of Smidkel, at Bergen.
Sounds like a mean dude.
I still don't see the problem.
Smidkel married Tor Odda, my sister.
Oh, of course. How could I have forgotten that? So this Torfy has been in trouble with your brother-in-law, and this means trouble with you. It all ends up when he tries a bit of manslaughter here. What a way to live.
What about his men?
Not his men, just with him. Now, they with me. We go south to raid. We go in my new longship.
You gotta hand it to these guys. They keep it simple.
Do they ever?
Bernie. Hey, Dallas, you missed a hell of a fight.
Yeah, looks like. I've been trying to get you on the radio.
Problem?
Rough Hawk staggering out to throw up.
Well, a couple of times I felt like it myself.
He fell over a sheep, one of them dirty gray ones, looked like rocks. He broke his leg.
3 days into shooting, and my leading man had a compound fracture of the tibia that would take at least 4 months to heal. Now, of course, Professor Hewitt could always take him and a personal physician back to Paleozoic Catalina without losing us any time. But there was one small problem.
I'm through with this picture. And I'm through with the crazy people out there. I saw what happened on the beach. I don't want any more part of it.
Now, Ralph...
No, Barney. Don't try and talk me around. Oh, I got an out with this leg, so I'm washed up with this picture. And even if I didn't have a leg, we'd be through. You can't make me act.
I knew right then that Ruff wasn't going to change his mind. Few ideas ever penetrated the muscle and bone to the tiny brain, but the few that got in stuck hard. He'd have to be taken back home. So there went the picture. I went down to the empty beach. The sun was setting. I cursed loud and long.
What's that mean?
It means don't creep up on me like that. Get out of here, you hairy-faced slob.
By my house, you looked bad. Have a drink.
Oh, thanks.
I came here for my daily pay. 1 bottle. $10 say that from his own silver. He buy Otter 1 bottle because of fight today. This a big day.
This a big day, all right. Hey, pass the bottle. It's the last day because this film's over, gone, finished, kaput. You know what that means?
No.
I've been in the movie business since God was a boy, and right now, today, I'm out of it. Because without this masterpiece, Climactic's gonna fold. And where they go down the tubes, I go with them. And do you know why?
Have a drink.
Sure. If I leave Climactic, I'm washed up because there are a lot better producers and directors around to get any jobs I may want. Hey, you're a wise man, Otter. I'm gonna tell you something I never told anyone before. Because I'm getting drunk on your daily wage, and you probably understand 1 word in 10 of what I'm saying. I am mediocre. Now, do you have any idea what a terrible admission that is to make?
No.
You see, if you're lousy, you soon know it. You get booted out, go to work in a filling station. If you're a genius, you know it. You got it made. But if you're mediocre, you're never quite sure of it. You blame it on the breaks. You keep doing just one more picture until you've done 73 pieces of cinematic crap. There's not gonna be a number 74. The funny part is, the number 74 could have been a good picture.
What is this picture?
Work of art. Entertainment. Like your, what do you call them? Sagas.
I'll sing a song from a saga. I sing good. Strike, strike, sword, king of my heart, where the worm is living, faces with anger. My sons will bring vengeance. Death has no fear. The voice of the Valkyrs brings new guests to the ale hall of Odin. Death comes. The table holds a banquet. Life is done now. Laughing I die. That was Ragnar's song when King Ella murdered him and Ella died. I wish I could have slain him.
I tell you, he was something to behold as he stood by that ancient sea and shook his fist to the last red light of the sunset. The saga was real to him. Life and art were one. The song was the battle became the song. And if I hadn't been half-potted, the idea would still never have occurred to me.
Oh, come on in, Amory. Hang your things on the back of the door to drip. Coffee on the hot plate.
Well, I don't think it's ever going to stop raining.
Did you see the screen test?
What did you think?
Same as everyone else. Absolutely first class. This Viking of yours is a natural, Barney. A real find.
Well, let's hope so. Hey, did you know he was shipwrecked here?
Yeah?
Yeah, on his way to Iceland from Norway. According to Jens Lind, Ottar had a falling out with King Olaf Trygvasson. He's in exile.
Who needs kings when you can be a movie star?
Yeah. How's the set coming?
Oh, it's all done. Ottar's house is ready to shoot interiors.
And Ottar should be bathed and waved and costumed by now. So, let's go make movies. All right now, Slidey. This is called a shut bed, yes? You see it's all enclosed? It's got these doors which shut?
I'm cold.
Yes. Well, look, why don't you just climb into the sack there? Ottar, if you wouldn't mind just putting down your salary for a moment.
I hold it.
No, it wouldn't fit the scene, Ottar.
She's tired. Too many lights to sleep.
Very keen of you to notice. We're still making the film. Now, this is Gudrid, remember? It was hard work. For one thing, Ottar was only interested in his bottle. In the end, I had it placed in the corner of the bed. That way, at least his eye line was right. I finally decided to shoot it without sound and talk him through it. Okay, and everyone else shut up. This set sounds like a mahjong party. All right, camera. Here we go. Ottar, you look down. That's it. No, not at the damn bottle. You reach out and touch her hair. Now, Slidey wakes up. Oh, that's great. You're doing fine, Ottar. Sit down now. Don't break the bed. Okay, now you reach out, and we have the kiss. Very good. A passionate embrace and a kiss. But you don't like it, Slidey.
The hell she doesn't.
Easy, caveman. Take it easy.
Great. Writhe all over like that, Slidey. Perfect. Force it down on the bed, Ottar. Now, slip off the shoulder strap.
Hey, watch what you're doing.
Forget it. We can run up a new 90. Oh, this is great. This is great. Now you change, Slidey. Hate turns to burning love. Oh, very good.
Look what he's doing.
All right, cut. That's good. We'll print that. I said cut. Ottar, Slidey, the scene is over.
Oh, boy.
That's enough. Ottar, not that. All right. Close those doors. Clear the set.
Party pooper.
You know, he's even got a bottle of whiskey in there.
After that, the performances improved. Even the weather got better. Of course, there were still problems. It seemed unlikely, for example, that we were going to be able to shoot the second half of the picture. Apparently, the location we were relying on didn't exist after all.
It's true. There are no Norse settlements in North America. It's most disturbing. We have searched all the possible sites and have found nothing.
All the authorities are wrong?
Well, yes.
But don't let it bother you, Doc. You can write a book about it. Then you'll be the new authority. In the meantime, where do we go from here? In case you've forgotten, the script is called Viking Columbus, and is the saga of the discovery of North America and the founding of the first settlement there.
Well, we could go to the west coast of Norway.
Oh, do they have many Indians we can hire for the big battle scenes?
None at all.
Then that's out. Hey, Ottar!
You want Ottar? I eat?
Yes, you really do, don't you? Listen, what do you know about North America? I mean Vinland.
Nothing.
You mean you've never heard of it?
Oh, sure. I heard. The scout make poems about it, and I talked to Leif Erikson about his trip. I never seen it. Don't know anything. 1 year. I will go to Iceland, then go to Finland. Get very rich.
Oh, with what? Gold? Silver?
Wood.
For the Greenland settlements. They are always terribly short of wood of any kind, and in particular the hardwoods needed for shipbuilding. A load of hardwood delivered in Greenland would be worth a fortune.
Well, there's your answer. As soon as we finish shooting here, we pay off Ottar and he sails to Vinland. We film the departure, some ocean shots to do for the trip. Then we jump ahead in time to meet him and film his arrival. Once there, they throw up a few shacks for a settlement. We pay some wampum to the local tribe to burn them down, and the picture is finished.
Good idea. Plenty wood in Finland. Finish lunch now.
By the time we finished the first half of the picture, Ottar was raring to leave for Iceland, where he was due to spend the winter before sailing on to Vinland.
The time is late. If we sail today, we better sail soon.
We're just about finished. I want to get a good shot of you leaving the bay, and that can be the last one.
You shot that shot this morning, sailing into dawn, you said.
That was from the shore. Now I want to get you and Slithy at the tiller as you sail from your home into the unknown.
No woman at no tiller on my ship.
She doesn't have to steer the thing.
Finally, he was gone. Despite the battery-driven gyro compass and the radio responder that Amory had built into the ship, I was suddenly not so happy. I wouldn't have sailed that ship across the bay, never mind the North Atlantic.
Those gadgets of yours better work, Amory, or we're all going to have to stay in Vinland and set up house with the Indians. If I can't take back this picture with me, there's just no point in going back.
Ah, you worry too much.
We'll soon find out. Well, Dallas?
Prof had to make 3 jumps to find him.
It seems that,
Otter.
Otter, yes, has stopped for some time in the Faroes before going on to Iceland.
Is he all right?
Oh, yes, the ship is up on the shore for the winter.
Yeah, and when we left, Otter and his uncle were getting smashed on the booze we brought.
Good. Well, now let's go pick a site to move the company to. Okay, Prof?
Ready when you are.
Barney.
Barney, yes.
Okay, all aboard.
Right, Barney.
Right, now take us ahead in time to next spring, the year 1005, and land us at a good spot in Newfoundland. One of the sites you and Lynn searched when you were looking for the Viking settlements.
I know just the place.
Good.
An ideal location. Stand by. That's right.
Hey, what
do you call this?
Slight mistake. Wrong coordinates. We will see to it that's right.
Look at that.
Oh, now this is more like it. Where are we, Jens?
It's one of the first sites we checked. This is Epave Bay, really an arm of Sacred Bay on the northernmost tip of Newfoundland. That's the Strait of Belle Isle out there.
Right, well, we'll leave the area down by the mouth of the stream there for Ottar, and we'll set up our camp over there to the right, at the top of the meadow.
Yes.
All right, crew. Let's settle in Vinland.
As it turned out, we didn't time our arrival particularly well. We had quite a wait for Ottar. It was worth it, though. Gino shot some wonderful footage from up on the hill as Ottar drove the ship at full speed towards the mouth of the stream. As soon as it scraped bottom, crew and passengers leapt ashore and laid into the food we had waiting for them.
This good.
Do you think this will do for your camp, Ottar?
Good grass. Good water. Plenty of wood on the shore for burning. Plenty of trees with hard wood over there for cutting. Fish, hunt. It's a good place. There's Gudrid. There's everybody.
Taking a day off back on old Catalina.
Want to see Gudrid.
Slithy. And I imagine she wants to see you, too.
Been a long time.
Yeah, you're a man of simple pleasures, Ottar. At least finish your ham first. Remember, this is a historical moment. You have just arrived in the new world.
You nuts, Barney? Same old world. Just a place, name of Finland. Looks like good trees here.
Shooting went well after that. It would have gone perfectly if it hadn't been for the Indian problem.
We need Indians in this picture. Where are they? You must have seen some signs of them.
Well, we did discover some camps on the shore, but they were deserted. The Cape Dorset Indians are a migratory people, following the seal herds and the schools of cod. I feel that at this time of year they may have moved further north.
Not all of them.
Oh, you did see some?
Nope, Doc's right. But you can hear the lawnmower engine on that boat 5 miles away.
So?
I could feel them. They were watching us. Yeah, they're out there, somewhere close, so help me they are.
And he was right, because later that day, 9 sealskin boats, each containing 2 or 3 men, came out from behind the island and paddled soundlessly toward the shore.
Axe here! Sail!
Hold it, Ottar. No weapons and no fighting. We want to keep this friendly if we can. Those are potential extras out there. I don't want them frightened off. Gino, you getting them?
In at the back. If you clear the 20th century types off the set, I shoot the whole arrival, the landing, the works.
Okay. Now, everyone not in costume, move. Off camera! Lynn, get into Viking Rick quick so you can get down there and translate. Talk to them, but stay behind Otter so it looks like he's doing all the work.
But not a single word of their language is known.
You'll pick it up. You're a translator, so translate. We need something to trade.
It took a while to persuade the Indians to come ashore. What finally swung it was Slithy wading into the surf with a Viking pot containing a gallon of vanilla ice cream from the commissary.
Come on, guys, it's delicious. Yum, yum. See me like yum, yum? Come on, guys, that's it. Watch the hand buster. It's just ice cream on offer. My boyfriend's watching and he has a short fuse on his temper and a long handle on his axe. You want some? That's it, come on.
It turned out that the Cape Dorset Indians had the same sweet tooth and the same hormones as everyone else. It also turned out that they'd never seen a cow before, and more to the point, they'd never seen the bull that Otter's people had brought along with the cow from the Orkneys. That bull was a squinty-eyed, mean-tempered little brute with a distinct aversion for strangers.
Otter, get that beast out of here before it upsets the Indians!
It was already too late. Panic was immediate. The Indians scattered. Someone shouted that they were attacking. The Northmen rushed for their weapons. Within a couple of minutes, the scuffle was over. One of the Viking housecarls had an arrow through his hand. Two of the Cape Dorset were dead, and the rest were in their boats and heading for the open sea.
Madonna mia, what tempers these people got? Worse than Siciliani.
Did you get it all?
Yeah, Barney.
It's nothing but a stupid waste. They were all frightened, just like children. The emotions of children in the bodies of men, so they kill each other. The waste of it all.
But it makes good film. And we're not here to interfere with local customs.
You disrupt these people's lives completely for your cinematic drivel, then you ignore the consequences of your actions.
Hey, take it easy,
Let
Jens.
me tell you what I found out just by chance.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
The compass repeater on the ship. Otter and his men call it usus notra. That is their way of saying compass repeater. There is a word in the Icelandic sagas mentioned more than once about a navigation instrument that has never been identified. It is called the Husus Notra.
Oh, that's interesting, Jens.
The impact of our arrival in the 11th century could be greater than any of us imagined. All the possibilities of this must be studied.
Eventually, filming reached a point where we were ready to move the company on to the following spring, leaving Otter and his people in the meantime to build log cabins and log palisade round their camp. We were to provide them with food for the winter so they could use the rest of the summer and the fall solely for the building. We were to get these supplies from the studio commissary back in the 20th century.
Ready to go. All the commissary people are waiting and a couple of grips who volunteered because they wanted to see if Hollywood is still there.
Well, enough to move the supplies? I mean, what with side trips for broken legs and all? It's Saturday afternoon back there now. Everyone in the lot will have gone home.
Yeah, we can handle it.
After everything we'd been through, it seemed sort of unlikely that we would be brought to the edge of disaster by something as simple as a Hollywood weekend. It started when we couldn't get the supplies we needed.
I'm sorry, sir, but I've never seen you before, and even if I had, I couldn't let you into this warehouse. No, sir.
You people in studio security do a fine job.
Give me a more axe. I'll get that door open.
Kill! Hey, all right, you guys, that's enough. We've been working on a Viking picture. Things were simpler back in those days. Where's your phone?
It took until 6 in the evening to get everything sorted out and the truck loaded and back on the time platform.
Am I to understand that you are not returning with us?
I have a little business to conclude. You can unload and come back and pick me up, say about 10 o'clock.
I seem to be running some sort of temporal taxi. I'm not quite certain I enjoy it.
Relax, Prof. We're coming down the home stretch. You think I'd risk losing hours like this otherwise?
As I watched the time platform vanish into the past, back to the wilds and chapped lips and cold rain, I had a sudden irresistible urge for a first-class deluxe dinner at Chasen's with dry martinis before, brandy afterwards, and champagne in the middle. By 9 o'clock, I was feeling no pain as I made my way to a meet with Spider-Man Spinnaker, the only jazz tuba player in captivity. His current engagement was in a really tacky club called the Fungus Grotto.
The Vikings have a kind of brass horn called the lure horn. That's what gave me the idea. An all-brass score complete with drums hammering away with primitive savagery. What do you think, Spider? Could you and your boys handle it?
Natural, but that'd take time, man. We got commitments.
No problem. Let's grab your boys, go round to the studio now. You'll be back here inside an hour, I guarantee it.
Duty and I just fake up until the rest come in around 11. After that, we're on till 3. We can't split before then. You want a drink?
At 4 o'clock that Sunday morning, Spider-Man Spinnaker, his combo, and I staggered out of 2 taxis and weaved our way into the empty sound stage where Professor Hewitt was waiting.
Very punctual.
Oh, sorry, Prof, old boy.
What's a raft?
Transportation. Right, all aboard. We'll just be gone a few minutes.
Is this the waiting room?
No, that's the Vrameatron control room. Hey, stay out of there, you drug-crazed oaf. Those instruments are delicate. Mind that trumpet.
Holy smoke.
I was completely sober in less than a second. Too late, though. The controls were damaged. The Vrameatron was grounded, and so were we. By 9 o'clock that Sunday morning, Professor Hewitt was estimating the repairs would take most of the day. By 5 a.m. Monday, he pronounced the rewiring complete and set off to find replacement parts. By 10:30, the professor had not returned. An LM and that bank representative were waiting for me. I was beaten. There was no way to finish the picture in time. Outside LM's office, I considered suicide for a moment, then began pushing the door open.
Don't go in there. What the hell do you think you're doing? Stopping you from making a mistake, stupid. Hey, that's a good reaction. Maybe you should act in pictures, not direct them. Hey, you're me. Hold this a sec. Viking Columbus, real one? Get my wallet. Hey, what? Here. It's difficult with his hand. What happened to my hand? Your hand. I mean, why all the bandages and blood? Give this piece of paper to the prof and stop horsing around and finish the picture, will you? Oh, Viking Columbus. The hand. In here, boy. What happened to the hand?
I went into LM's office without another word. I looked at the paper he'd given me. There was a sketch on it, drawn quickly with ballpoint pen. It meant nothing to me, so I folded it and put it in my wallet. By midday, the professor had repaired the Vrameatron. I told him that I'd met myself in the building and saw myself delivering the completed film. I showed him the paper. He was entranced. He did try to explain it to me. Are you telling me that I can go back to make the film after the deadline, and then make an extra trip to a time before the deadline to deliver the film?
I am.
All right, answer me one thing. This piece of paper with a diagram, who drew it?
I don't know.
Then think. I was handed this paper on Monday morning by myself in front of LM's office. I show it to you now. I put it in my wallet and carry it around until the picture is finished. I travel back in time to deliver the picture to LM. I meet the old me in front of the office, take the diagram out of my wallet and hand it over to myself to be put back in the wallet. No one ever drew it. It just travels around in this wallet and I hand it to myself.
The piece of paper consists of a self-sufficient loop in time. It exists because it is.
He went on to talk about Mobius strips. A strip of paper with only one side? I gave up at that point. Back in the summer of 1005, the food had been offloaded and the company were in the trucks and ready. We jumped forward to a day in spring 1006 that Dallas and the professor had reconnoitered and spotted a few Indians. That was when we found that Slithy hadn't made the jump with us.
When I came back from my walk with Arthur, you'd all gone.
You've been here all the time. So that baby is yours?
Staying accidental like that, I didn't take my pills with me. Oh, he's sweet, though, isn't he? We don't even have a name for him yet, but I call him Snorri, just like the dwarf in Snow White.
There was no dwarf named Snorri. Look, Slithy, we can't go back and undo this now, not with the baby and everything, and it was your fault for leaving the trailer.
I'm not blaming anyone. Once I got used to it, it wasn't so bad. Oh, I could use a square meal, though.
We'll have a big party tonight for you and Arthur. Yeah, and the baby. Steak and wine, the works.
Hey, Barney, you gotta get us a rehearsal room, man. We're freezing our asses off here. And all this air, man. Will you shut up, Duty?
It's like fresh.
When the Indians came, they came in strength, and they were hostile. The bay was black with their boats, and they brought magic with them. In each boat, a man whirled the bull roarer. Ottar and his people withdrew to the stockade. Our people withdrew to the high meadow, where Tex gathered them into a defensive circle. Gino prepared to film from there. From inside Ottar's fort, I was preparing to film with a handheld. For a while, the Cape Dorsets, who outnumbered the Vikings by at least 20-1, stood off and rained arrows on the fort.
Coward weapons! Cowards! No way to fight!
A few tried to climb the wall, but instant dismemberment by flashing Viking axes quickly put a stop to that. Then they set brushwood fires against the stockade.
I can put a stop to this whole thing right now.
No! They won't fight, we fight! We take care of that fire.
Maybe you'll get Butcher doing it.
Butcher some too? And Barney wants good pictures of fighting Indians.
Not at the expense of your lives. Let Dallas handle it.
No, we'll give you a good fight for your movie. And don't look so sad, my old friend. We fight for ourselves too. You will soon go. And when we are alone, we want these barbarians to remember, but not when are like in battle.
He's right, but if he gets in trouble, we ought to be ready to get him out. I'm going to put this up as far along the wall as the wire will reach.
A loudspeaker? Well, what the hell is that for?
Turtler unit in the box there.
What does that do?
It uses sound waves as a weapon. It's supposed to be for crowd control.
Oh, we've sure as hell got a crowd.
Yes, sir, we sure as hell have.
Ottar gathered his men just inside the gates. He raised his axe. There was a roar of Viking voices, and as the gates swung wide, the Northmen rushed out. This was the fighting they did best and enjoyed most. In a howling, compact mass, they burst forth and crashed into the Cape Dorset. The superior numbers of the Dorset made no difference, for there was nothing they could do to fight these northern butchers whose short swords and axes chopped and hewed through weapons and flesh alike. The Dorset fled before the unstoppable advance of the blood-drenched killers, and as they did, a gap opened up between the two groups. Suddenly, the advantage was with the Dorset and their bows and spears. The Vikings couldn't get close enough to fight. The Dorset began to surround them and pick them off.
If you can do anything, Dallas, now's the time.
I got the only set of earplugs, so if I was you, I'd put my fingers in my ears.
The Cape Dorset broke and ran. The Vikings' instinctive reaction was simply to draw into a closer defensive knot. While the Dorset were fighting each other to get into their boats, Ottar's men stood together, facing outward and ready to take on all enemies, human or supernatural. Their courage was magnificent.
There's your Indian battle, Barney, so it looks like there's your film.
Out there, somewhere over the sea, is our home. Do you still miss it, Gudrid?
For a long time I did, but not anymore. We have fought and died for this land, and it is ours now. Vinland, this new world, that is our home now.
Cut. Good. Print that. I guess that just about winds it up.
The party that night was a big one. Everyone was feeling good. Even Spider-Man and his boys had finally recovered from the poisonous effect of fresh air.
We came here to look for settlers because in the early 1960s, Helga Ingstad excavated the remains of 9 buildings, and carbon dating of the fragments placed them around 1000 AD.
You see what that means, don't you, Ron? There are 9 buildings in a camp down there. So there's a Norse settlement here in the 11th century because traces of it were found in the 20th century. We came here to leave traces, to be found, to lead us here to leave traces.
Enough. I've had this circling time thing before. The next thing you'll be telling me is all the old sagas are really true and that we're responsible. Or that Ottar here is really Thorfinn Karlsefni.
The guy who started the first settlement in Vinland.
Sure, that's me. Thorfinn Karlsefni, son of Thor Thorshead, son of Horhild Hrjupa.
Your name is Ottar.
Sure. Ottar is name people call me. Short name. Real name, Thorfinn Karlsefni, son of Thor Thorshead.
I researched the Karlsefni saga for the script. According to the saga, he was supposed to have come by way of Iceland and marry a girl by the name of Gudrid.
Slider's name in the film.
Gudrid was supposed to have had a baby in Vinland, and they named him Snorri.
Snorri? One of the 7 dwarfs from Snow White. If this is true, then the only reason the Vikings settled in Vinland is because we decided to make a motion picture showing how the Vikings settled in Vinland.
It's as good a reason as any other, don't you think?
I didn't hurry the editing and dubbing of Viking Columbus. Hell, there was no need to. By the time we'd finished, most of the camp had packed up and gone long ago. No pun intended. I was making final preparations to follow when I got a small splinter in my hand. I got the nurse to wrap a good big bandage round the tiny wound and pour mercurochrome all over it. I'll show the sadistic son of a bitch.
What? Who?
Me, that's who. I treated me like that. Now I'm going to get even with myself. I wouldn't tell me what was wrong. I made me suffer. Well, we'll see.
You hurt?
Just crazy is all.
Listen, take it easy. Watch out for Indians.
Not afraid of them. We cut plenty hardwood, get a fortune in Iceland. You bring Gudrid back?
In a couple of minutes, your time. But what happens then is up to her. So long, Ottar.
Farhail, Barney. You make another movie. Pay with whiskey?
I may just do that.
And so the professor took me back, or rather forward, to our own time, and then back just far enough to deliver the film on schedule. Sure enough, I arrived in LM's office, leaving myself outside, asking what had happened to my hand.
I'm very sorry to be late, gentlemen. Well, I'm sure Mr. Greenspan has explained everything. We were out of the country. I've just arrived with a print of the film he's been telling you about. A multi-million-dollar asset, gentlemen, that will usher in a new era of cinematic art and profit for this studio.
See, I told you so. It's okay.
It was Jens Lind who put the postscript to the whole thing. He'd re-examined the original sagas in the Old Norse, in which he was now so fluent.
Do they say what finally happened to Ottar?
Well, there are different versions of his later life, but all agree on his prosperity and long and happy life.
Good, he deserves it. You know, Slidey went back to it.
The Gudrid of the sagas, of course. I read an item in the paper about it.
Yeah, something about retiring from films to be with the only man I love and the sweetest baby in the world on his ranch, which, while the plumbing isn't very good, is very nice and friendly with plenty of fresh air. Poor Slidey. I wonder if she has any idea where or when that ranch is.
It doesn't really matter, does it?
Listen, Jens, I have to go.
One thing before you go. In the sagas, a name keeps cropping up. A man who seems to have had an influencing factor on the Vinland settlements. His name is Bjarni Herjolfsson. You know who that is, don't you?
Barney Hendrickson, listen to me. We have to plan now to follow up the smash success of Viking Columbus with an even more smashing success. Just before you came in, Barney, Charlie Chan commented that religious pictures are swinging up in the charts again.
I wouldn't doubt it. LM? No.
While we got exclusive use of the professor's machine all tied up.
LM, think.
The absolute, infinitive, religious picture of all time. A theme that positively cannot miss.
But that's another story.
In The Technicolor Time Machine, adapted for radio by Chris Boucher, from the novel by Harry Harrison, Lee Montague was Barney Hendrickson, Richard Pearson, Professor Hewitt, John Bay, L.M. Greenspan, David March, Dr. Jens Lund, and Michael Kilgarith, Ottar. Slithy Tove was played by Karen Archer, Rough Hawk by Alexander John, Charlie Chang by Barry Denon, Tex by William Roberts, Dallas by Crawford Logan, Amory by Don Fellows, Gino by Sean Barrett, Duty by Andrew Seacombe, Betty by Patience Tomlinson, and Sam by John Livesey. The Technicolor Time Machine was directed by Glenn Dearman.
There's a second chance to hear that play on Monday at 3:02. Now, I'm sorry to say that because it's just coming up to 10 o'clock, we've no time now for the weather forecast. So instead, I shall be reading it immediately after the news at 10:15. Radio 4.
BBC News at 10 o'clock. This is Pauline Bushnell. In a surprise announcement, the Soviet Union has revealed that nearly 100,000 troops are taking part in its military exercises near the border with Poland. The Soviet naval presence in the Baltic is said to be the biggest there since the Second World War. On the first day of the Congress in Gdansk of Poland's Free Trade Union, a government minister has appealed to delegates to work out a common platform to help solve the country's problems. At home, union leaders in the gas industry have set November for the start of a national strike, and they'll be asking for backing from other unions at the TUC conference next week. The fires on the Malvern Hills are said to be under control, but firemen and soldiers will stay on the scene overnight. There's been one of the closest finishes ever seen in one-day cricket. Derbyshire won the NatWest Trophy final on the last ball of the last over. In an unexpected move, the Russians have announced just how many members of their armed forces are involved in the war games being carried out in the Baltic states which border Poland. The official news agency TASS says the exercise, codenamed West 81, involves 100,000 men, the sort of information not usually made public. There's been speculation that the manoeuvres are the biggest in the region since World War II. TASS says the troops are acting in conditions that are close to what they would expect in combat. From Moscow, Chris Lee.
100,000 is a large force in this area. It is considerably bigger than earlier estimates and must include reservists. It will also include staff officers, administrators, and the men in the 60 or so ships known to be in the Baltic flotilla supporting the land manoeuvres. That force is thought to be the biggest Soviet naval presence in the Baltic since the Second World War.